God, bobbles the ball. He's got a race for it. Camarda tries to get it off, kicks it, and it's an unbelievable job inside the 10.
You see him there again.
Brady loading up, going deep. Evans is open. He's got it in for the touchdown.
And that right there, my friends, sums up the Bucs season on offense and just the team all in a nutshell. Yes, a bunch of blunders, but for whatever reason, we find a way. And good evening. We are at Bucs Report. The aftermath today. We started a little earlier today. It is I'm AJ Turnup, and you smell that? It's a wonderful aroma, and it's called victory. It's a victory Monday. Man, isn't it good to finally, we've been able to do that 2 weeks straight. And this one is the sweetest aroma because the Buccaneers have clinched a playoff berth for the second straight time. Well, no, third straight time, but we've also NFC South Kings for the second straight time, which is the first time in our franchise history. And I'm very proud of that. I'm just happy that we were able to, finally to get in there through all the turmoil and controversy, whose fault it was. At the end of the day, coaching and the players both have gotten this team right where we need to be, and that is the playoffs. We took care of business. We beat the Panthers, a team that was surging at the time. Yes, I'm going to say surging. I won't say they're super good, but they were surging. And I'm glad that we took we made a lot of people out to look dumb. And I'm talking about people today. I got to start throwing out names. Dan Orlovsky, he's lost it. He's out of his damn mind. So now all of a sudden, and Greg Jennings, Ryan Clark, he's my boy. I got nothing but love him, but he was tripping too. All of a sudden now, you see what it's like to be a Bucs fan. It's a Bucs life out here. Before Sunday, a lot of people, including Shannon Sharp too. Yes, Shannon, I'm talking to you. All of a sudden, the Bucs, you guys, a lot of people picked the Panthers to come in here and beat the Bucs, all because, I just don't see anything coming from this team. Yeah, I got the Panthers. They look at what they did to Detroit, running the ball. So, they want it bad. They're hungrier. Then the Buccaneers come out, a little sloppy, but found a way and won. Evans played his best game of the season, of the year. So did Brady. But now, fast forward today, is it more of the Panthers being bad or the Buccaneers? I think it was more the Panthers, or Orlowski out here saying, well, they should have did this and that. Yeah. We don't want to hear that nonsense because, Dan, if the Bucs would have lost to the Panthers, then you would have been like, well, I told you. No. Now all of a sudden the Panthers are just a bad team. No, we're not going to have that. We're not going to do that. The Buccaneers did what they needed to do. They played a team that was surging, that was on their way of trying to dethrone us, and the Buccaneers prevailed. Now, it's a wonderful thing that we can nitpick a victory. That's what I like to do. I like nitpicking because that shows that, we have high standards. It's been a long time, Bucs fans. I assure you, we had two years during our dark ages of false hope. That was 2010 season with Raheem as the coach, where we went 10-6, and we really thought that we were going to see some promising moments in the 2011, and that just let us down. And then we had the 2016 season when we were 9-7, when Winston and the defense was finally, coming together, and we was on that 5-game win streak. And you couldn't tell me that, oh man, we might make some noise in the playoffs, and we had just missed it because we couldn't beat the Saints that second game. And I was just happy for us to look like we were going up. And then again, 2017, we went down in the dumps. So for the Buck fans out there, that's why we are so, we want to feel this joy for as long as we can. And especially, it's not like back then when we had people who looked like they had promising careers. No, we have established players this season with Mike Evans, with Chris Godwin, with Russell Gage, and then Brady, of course, and then Leonard Fournette, Rashad White. Then on defense, we have Devin White, Levante David, who should be in the Hall of Fame after he retires, Antoine Winfield, Vita Vea. So we have a team, we have a squad, and we want to, we really want this team to be good. So we don't want to hear no BS excuses because we want our Buccaneers to do something and make noise because we don't know if we'll see this again for a while. Because once Mike and these guys retire, hopefully we continue to draft so we can pick ourselves up after this because we already know that the cap is going to be cap season. Hell is coming for us. So right now, for Bucs fans, we just want to enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. Your Buccaneers are in the playoffs. We put away the Panthers, eliminated them. Everybody else in our division is eliminated, so that's good. But here's the thing. Now we get to argue about this. Basically, when we go against Atlanta next week, it's a bye week, basically. Damn bye week. Uh I had said we already know Brady said he wants to play and it would bother him if he's benched. So he will play, of course, because Bo said so. I'm not against it. I would hope that they don't try to play the entire game. I want them to play at least a half so that they can keep the rhythm going, have that momentum coming in because in 2 weeks we're going to the playoffs. So I don't mind that, but I do want to see what our reserves can do because you never know. You might see somebody that comes out and say, "Oh wow!" And if we're we're going to be playing a team that has nothing to play for. But a lot of these people on the Falcons still will be playing for not only pride, but they're playing for a job too. Because let's say the Falcons are going to be rebuilding as well, and they might have to clean house, and some players might be out of a job, so they're going to play for a job. So with that being said, let's see what the Bucs reserves can do because we might find a gem in there that can help us in the playoffs. If I am so for me, if I'm the Bucs on offense, especially the receivers that they got a lot that they need to work on if they want to ever be employed by the Bucs or be a weapon in the playoffs. Scotty Miller as a receiver, I would like to see what he can do. We know what he's capable of, but we need to see it more consistently. I want to see him be more utilized. If Perriman is back in, it's like what are you guys going to do to help this Bucs team right now, especially during the playoffs? Because we already know we need Evans and Godwin to continue to step up, but at the same time, we need those role players to do their job. We need Scotty Miller to show up. We need Perriman to show up. We need Kate Otten to show up. We need Keith. We need everybody to show up. So that is why I think in the second half of the Falcons game that the Buccaneers should play their reserves so we can see what happens. And let's take a look at some of the comments. So we have Jeremiah, let's go Bucs. That's right, let's go Bucs. I've been pumped up for the playoffs. Me too, Giovanni. Me too, my man. And let's see. Bugs Sculligan said praying for a player. It's very sad. Wait a minute. That's why you don't want to play starters next week. Yes, that some people because you don't want anybody to get hurt. You don't want the unexpected to happen. So I can understand that. I also do understand the flip side though. You want to keep your guys fresh and but you also want to keep them hungry and motivated because sometimes bye weeks can hurt your players because let's say if they just get out of sync, you want to keep them hungry and motivated. But that's why I said a half. Just play one half, of course, and then you take them out. Because let's say hopefully that one half, the Bucs can be up 14-0 or 17-0, and the Falcons really don't have anything to play for. Then that's when you can bring in the reserves and see what they can do. So that is the most important thing at that point. I think that they can make it happen. It would be nice to finish the season with a winning record, but we're in the playoffs, so I really don't care. It's about finishing all the way. And I know a lot of people out there are thinking the Buccaneers are going to be a one and done team, but I'm here to tell you guys right now, this is if I am players in the NFC, this Bucs team has the potential to be dangerous, especially with the returning players. If Jensen can be back and he can give us 60 to 70% of his energy, of his skills, that's already going to be a major boost for the offense when we get out there, whoever we play against. Defensively, got to make sure Vita and Hicks are healthy. That also means that we have to make sure Antoine Winfield's healthy. Carlton Davis. I would not play Carlton Davis at all if he is still dinged up. We got to make sure that he stays right. So that is the most important thing, to be honest. Right now, when it comes to playoffs, we're either playing the Philadelphia Eagles or we're playing Dallas. Now, right now, I know a lot of people want to rather play Dallas than the Eagles, but let's talk about that for one moment. I don't know anymore. I thought the same thing, guys. I used to say, "Oh man, yeah, playing Dallas, we beat them already. You know, we got the formula." But let's look at this Eagles thing. It is not things are not as what they seem. It looks like the Eagles are raveling right in front of us, possibly. And how bad is that injury to Jalen Hurts really? Because it seems like it's more than what the Philadelphia Eagles are letting us know. If he has an injury significant enough to where he cannot do what he does best, which is run, because he likes to improvise, that might be a problem because he doesn't, the Bucs still have a solid playoff defense, and our linebacking core is fast enough to where they can handle the likes of a Jalen Hurts. Our corners are good enough to where they can make things happen. I like AJ Brown as well. AJ Brown is a really good receiver, but I have confidence that Carlton Davis can contain him, and we have Antoine Winfield in the backfield to help. And if we can have all of our corners healthy, Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, and Sean Murphy Bunn, who is coming on pretty strong again, that could bode a problem for the Eagles. Especially because we'll be dedicated to stopping the run game with Vita and Hicks. That can happen. So I don't know, Bucs fans, how you guys feel out there about that? Oh, look who we got in the house right now, everybody. We have Slick. What's going on, Slick? How are you doing this evening, sir?
I just got in from work, so I'm a bit worn out, but it's all good, baby, because we're division champions.
That's right. We are NFC South Kings. NFC South Kings, man.
I like that. King Day.
Yeah. So I was just talking about the simple fact that we won. That's all, we're grateful about that. We cherish this moments. And now, we're talking about basically, playing the starters. And now I'll ask you this. It's beautiful that we can skip a week. I like that shit. I like we can skip Atlanta. I want to know right now, dealing with the situation with injuries with Hurts, do we really want to play the Cowboys first or the Eagles? What is your thoughts on that, my man?
It depends on what kind of health level the Eagles are at right now. They look beatable by anybody because the Saints just done them. So, they are beatable and we can beat the Saints. So your mindset's going to be, well, that we have a good chance against these guys. The Cowboys, they've only got better, in my opinion, since we've last faced them. I do believe that we could beat them. I can believe, I'm deluded enough to believe that we can beat anybody anyway. So that's just my. This team's too talented not to lose to anyone. Of course, I also believe that we can lose to anybody at this point. So don't we have the ability to beat anybody, but we also have the ability to lose to anyone. So it all depends on Jalen Hurts.
No, I get it. I think I think his shoulder is still banged, but the reason why if I'm the Bucs, you want to take advantage of that because he might not be healthy enough to be 100%. And one of his best assets is improvising out of the pocket and running. And we have the defense to neutralize that because the linebackers have speed. And also, what if Vita Vea or Hicks blows up that middle? It's you've played football before, and especially for a quarterback, if you have a bum shoulder, you might not be able to throw it.
You want to get a couple of those like quarterback hits right on that shoulder, or right here, so it's a bit more hyperextended or whatever. I always think
Right.
when I see a guy go down, I'm like, I hope you're fucking out for the entire fucking game and your season's fine after this.
Right. And
I don't
that's
wish any
the thing.
injury on anyone, but when I see them go down in the game, I hope you're done for the game. You're
Right.
done for the game, and you get back. You're back to your normal self mid-season, middle of the week. This coming week, good for you. Yeah, but as soon as I see him go down, I'm like, I hope you're not playing this rest of this game. I hope you're done. I hope you're
Oh
out.
yeah, no. Oh, absolutely. No. If the Bucks and I don't wish this at all, but if the Bucks play Hurts and he goes out, that's game.
Mm-hmm.
That's game. That's definitely game because now you have Minshew. Minshew wouldn't be ready for that. I'm just telling you now.
I
Minshew
like
would
Minshew. I'm a big fan of Minshew. I would actually he would be one of the quarterbacks if Brady didn't come back that I would be eyeing up on a cheap deal because you're going to sign him for nothing. He's not going to cost you anything. And then I would just have I would go and get a couple of guys who are young, upcoming, and Kyle Trask and say, right, guys, there's 4 of you. One of you's going to make it. You decide the
That's
pecking
true.
order. You decide the pecking order. It's all on all of you. You're all going to get shots. But anyway, I don't like to talk about next year because we're not in next year. And, people already starting to talk, who's going to be our head coach? Oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Look, the only
Of
thing we can
course.
really talk about is what's going to happen with the coaching staff because I do think the Buccaneers need to shake some things up because at the end of the day, it's been a lackluster season to say the least. This
Yes,
team was
that.
guaranteed playoffs by all media.
Yep.
The highest chance to make the Super Bowl by pretty much all media going. Now we're scraping into the playoffs. Luckily, we win our division. We won our division, and that's all well and good. And there's jobs to be done, but it isn't been like it's not. It doesn't feel like the cherry on the cake that it used to feel.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take it because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Hannah T-shirt game. It's a banner in the stadium. Who gives a shit? Now we got to go for the real prize.
Yeah, you're right. Hold on, and I'm gonna look at this comment. Jeff Olson says the only team that scares me is San Francisco. Bring on Philly in the wild card and Dallas in round 2. To be quite honest, I do agree with that. The reason why I would agree with that is because Philly, they have a really complete team, and the only thing that they're missing is a Tom Brady at quarterback. That's it. That's the only thing. That's why I kind of hope that they lay an egg and when they play whoever they play, and that would be joyful. But yes, Philly, I honestly think no matter if when Dallas plays, they're going to be eliminated the first round because I don't believe in Dak Prescott. I really don't, and he has never shown you that he can be the guy that take it to the next level. And I just think for me,
he's losing too much sleep. That's what it is.
yeah, he just can't do it. He just doesn't have it. And Elliott, I think, is done. He's not a guy that can be the guy that pound the rock like he used to. Pollard is better, but if you just shut their run game down, if you make Dallas one-dimensional, it's over because CeeDee Lamb is their only target. But with that being said, or they're going to use Schultz, but he's not. He's an intermediate guy. I don't see Schultz beating the Bucs linebackers like that. So yeah, I do think that the 49ers will be a good challenge. I can actually see us, right? I know I'm speaking this into existence. I can see the Bucs playing them in the NFC title, and that would be a big deal because then we'd have to go back there and play them. But I do think the Bucs will be more ready and prepared this time.
For sure.
But yeah, this team is still I get what you said.
Even when I've looked at San Fran in past seasons, it's this type of ball that they play. It's not the fact that they're the most complete team in the NFL. It's not the fact that they have a superstar quarterback. It's not the fact that they have a good offensive line and a good defensive line. It's they just play so hard-nosed, so tough. Like they beat the Rams twice.
Yeah.
Everyone they played against, and these were good offenses they played against in the playoffs. They made look really poor because their defense is just so hard-nosed and their offense has got just enough to get it done. And that's what makes them a scary team. The fact that they can rotate quarterbacks. I mean, they haven't looked particularly terrible with anybody there. And that's what makes them dangerous.
And that's good coaching. Look at what Shanahan knows how to do. He plays to his players' strengths. And this is why I honestly just wish sometimes Bowles and Byron would just, it's okay to sometimes take notes of what other coaches are doing and how they're doing it. As you just said, you said it brilliantly. No matter who's at the quarterback position, San Fran just, that's that team. You know who they kind of remind me of? The Saints of the NFC South. Remember when
Mm-hmm.
Bridgewater would be in or Hill? It
Yeah,
didn't matter.
yep,
They did just enough to be a
good.
competitive team, and they'll
Mhm.
win. They find ways to win. That is what San Fran's doing.
Yep.
Now, the Bucks still, I just the edge we have is we have the GOAT. This team, if you don't blow the Bucks out early, and let's say if you keep them lingering around 10 to 13 points, you see Brady always knows how to find a way. No team
Mhm.
wants to do that. So most teams in the playoffs, in their mind, they just want to go, okay, let's score early, beat these damn Bucks, and don't keep them around because we don't want to see them in the fourth, whatever it is. The fourth quarter is magic for us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our magic core. I just want to address some of the school gangs. The reason we're not talking about what's going on in the Bills, A, I'm not watching it because I've literally just come in from work, and B, we don't know anything, and I never want to make it. If someone's been injured and they're in critical condition, obviously I don't pray because I'm not religious, but my thoughts are with him and with him and his family. I don't know who it is or not. But we're just talking books here, and I don't want to make it look like we're being disrespectful, but we're being respectful by not talking about it.
Right. And I know what he's talking about. Apparently one of the Buffalo, his name is DeMar Hamlin. He passed out after making a tackle. And if you see it, you'll see it later on, but it's very sad. Like he literally just passes out. So yeah,
Cardiac episode.
so yeah, many prayers and I hope the doctors can figure out what happened because yeah, it's a serious matter, but he got hit. It looks like he got hit really hard. Looks like a head or trauma. But yes, thank you for Bucks Go for and telling us about this. And but yeah, so yes, prayers to them. But yeah, we here to just talk buck ball because man, it's been a while. Because remember, just before Brady got here, we were always the butt of jokes when it came to commentary. Well, those Bucks did this and did that, and we had only a few moments. No, we are
Mhm.
here. We're in the playoffs. It's again, and I cherish it. Cherish it. 3 straight years of
Of success.
playoffs. I haven't seen this since I was literally what 10 and 11.
Wow.
That was the Dungy years, the
Mhm.
99, 2000, 2001. So like yeah, 4 straight years. But think about it. After that, we didn't go to the playoffs and 05 and 07, and then that was it. That was it. The dark ages was some dark ass years for Bucks fans. So
Mhm.
we are just happy to be in it now. If you had to say what 3 players on offense in your mind, Slick, you want to see elevate and take that next step to have the Bucks offense to be lethal.
I would normally say Mike Evans, but I think he's done that, and so is Chris Godwin. So I'm now looking at other players that need to make their mark, and I'm looking at K. Dotton. I'm looking at our two-headed beast in running back. Both of them need to have big games, like as in full on splash. And I think if you have those guys performing at a high level, because Tom Brady performed at a high level as well, that's they used to always say like the triplets that teams would have, and when they would talk about the Steelers, they would say they had the killer bees, didn't they? They had Val, um, Roethlisberger, and I've forgotten his name, the crazy fucking wide receiver,
Oh, you mean for the Steelers?
mm,
Hines Ward?
Antonio Brown.
Antonio. Oh, that
The
guy.
killer bees, right? You always need like three weapons within your that are considered elite. And
Yes.
once you have that, then you become harder to stop because you can't be one, especially if one's a running back and one's a passing threat. Then you can be more multi-dimensional. If you only have passing weapons, you're still only a pass-heavy team. If you have it all, you can do pretty much what you want. You can do the dictating on offense because you can do whatever you want. And that's what a lot of people used to say about the Bucks last year, that they were so powerful up front. They could be a power run team if they wanted to be, but then they could be a spread offense if they wanted to, because they had the personnel to do almost anything. And now we're a little bit more limited in what we can do by offensive line strength. Obviously, the tight end room isn't complete yet. It's still learning. It's still growing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens there. And the wide receiving core is intact, but it's just been banged up here and there. There's
Yeah,
never consistency.
I agree, and those were great picks. My first pick is still going to be is Brady. Of course, that's the obvious one, but here's why I say it's the obvious one, because if you go back to the Panthers game, he did something that we haven't seen in a long time, which truly won the game. He stuck in there and ran through his progressions. That is one thing that I said that I'm like, wow, Brady is literally willing to take a hit and a sack, and he didn't throw the damn ball away.
Because
That
at this
is
point, it doesn't matter, does it?
nope, and that's what I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're right. Because if you go down early in the
Yep.
season, you're going to be sat watching from the sides, thinking, "What if?" You give it when this was kind of like we said, this was like a playoff game. Even
Yep.
he said that it was like a playoff game. So you have to. You can't go. Oh well, I've got to save myself for next week. Well, next week doesn't come if you don't perform.
Yep. Yes, and remember we talked about that. Remember we were saying like, damn, I hope maybe he's just saving something in the tank, saying, you know what, not this game is still too soon. I think he came out of this. I think he snapped out of that. I think he's like you said, he probably knew, oh, I can't bullshit, because if you look at it, it wasn't that many times that he was just throwing the ball out quick. No, he went for it.
There were a couple. I think there was a period like it. I think it was like the third quarter. They started to play a little bit vanilla. Maybe not the third quarter. Sorry, there was a lapse of it at time going on. I think it was probably the first quarter to begin with, and they just a bit vanilla. It didn't get really. But the one thing that worried me is I'm hoping Succop's got his kicking boots on going forward, because he was the dependable one and he was not
Yes,
there
he
at all.
was. He was, but I don't like that Bowles puts him in bad positions. Don't let him kick anything right now over 50. Have him, if you have him kick anything no more than 46 yards, unless it's super critical. But don't put that unwanted pressure on him, because I think it got in his head. Because why are you trying to make him do something that he doesn't do? And the Bucs still have a good enough defense, so be smart, Bowles. Punt that shit, and hopefully you at least put him on their 15 or something. You do that. Don't give the other team the momentum, because if you're kicking from your own 42 and you miss it, now that team is the opposition team is going to go, oh shit, we can really put them away. So I do want that, but I do like the fact that Brady toughed it out. He said, damn it, I'm going to get hit and just fall. The worst thing you can do, Brady, is just take the sack and eat it, and we live to fight another day. But don't just throw it out quick, because
You still pay him, man. As soon as someone touched him, he just dropped.
exactly.
He was like, I am having no part of you getting a lick on me. I am just going to go down like a sack of potatoes. And they look really pathetic when they do it, but you're like, but that's a business decision. That's
a business decision.
You get a Von Miller hit in the gut. You might not get up, and you get clipped in the arm just hard enough. You might not be able to throw for it. You might have a stinger in your arm.
Exactly.
Being on your throwing arm completely changes the game. So it is smart. Like, it looks soft. It looks soft, and technically it is, but it's also the most valuable player on the field is the person who's going to deliver the ball to people. If you take him out of the equation, now you're having to rely on someone else to do it who hasn't done it yet.
Agreed. You nailed it again. And also, we have to remember, a lot of people forget Brady's 45 years old. He's not going to take a hit like a Mahomes or Josh Allen. Y'all have to be realistic. And we also remember Brady is not a stout, stocky quarterback. He's more on the length side. Yeah, you don't want him to take those kind of shots. So I do agree with that. Yes. My second guy is Julio, because Buck Skull brought it up. But yes, I want to see Julio come to life. We know Evans will step up, but this time, what you want to do when we go forward in the playoffs is make a defense frustrated. You want them to go, shit, this guy's getting off now, because we know Godwin and Evans are going to find their way. But if you imagine this, let's say Brady throws a bomb to Mike Evans, like a 45-yard bomb, and we score a touchdown on that against whoever we play. Hip hooray, right? Let's say the next drive we get a stop. Next thing you know, Julio comes out of nowhere and Brady bombs him, and it's a 58-yard touchdown. Now, as a defensive coordinator, Slick, you know this, you would have to go, shit, Now we really have to. We got to focus.
You changing the defense because now you're going to allow them to run the ball because you're going to have to take. You're probably going to have to go to a cover 2 shell, or a 2 high shell is probably a better way. Which means you're going to be running cover. You'll be running variations of cover 3 or variations of cover 2 or cover 4.
Mm-hmm. And I think because of that, you will put them in the position to pressure them to do a cover 4, and then since Byron loves to run it up the gut, that'll be your time. Now you can do that. We just have to remember in the playoffs, you set the pass up for the run. We don't have that hybrid offensive line anymore. Now, with Jensen coming back, though, if Jensen can give us 60 to 70% of something, just think about how more confident Brady will be. He might not even have to do the 2-second throws anymore. He might actually go, you know what? I can actually move in here and shift. And I believe Jensen coming back in gives Brady at least another 2 seconds.
Well, I mean, if anything, I want to see him have a few bits and pieces in this next game. I don't think I'd start him. I think maybe I'd bring him in, or I start him and then take him out early on.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to get his football legs under him and see how he feels. If he's playing at a high level and he's dominating for a quarter, turn around to him and say, "How you feeling? Do you want to come off? Because I know you want to stay on, but business decision here.
Be real.
This game does not fucking matter. Like, we've got our drives, we scored our touchdowns, we looked pretty when we needed to. This is preseason. It doesn't matter about the score. Score's irrelevant. Do you know what would be even more funnier? Is if we actually go and win a fucking Super Bowl with a losing record. That would be fucking bananas.
That would be hilarious, but it would be beautiful. It would be, oh man. No, and you're right. But that's my guy. And then the third one for me, Scotty Miller. What are you going to do, Scotty? Because I honestly feel at this point, Scotty isn't on the field because they've sort of lost a little bit of faith in him. Or I'm hoping they're saving him, saying, you know what, Scotty, we're saving you because you are gonna be that threat to where we know you got the speed to just go up the field, and we want to save you because it might be a play or two where they might catch the corner or the safety slipping. And what I mean by that, the corner might get burnt and Brady can bomb it, or Brady sees that Miller has taken a safety and a corner, and there's someone on the under route, and it's like, yep, got him. So I do want that.
Well, an easy hit there is you just stick Mike Evans. You stick Mike Evans in a very detached slot, quite close to the X or the Z, and you have him run a deep hitch, and then you have Scotty run deep. And what happens is, who's your double defender? Who's the danger guy? The danger guy on paper is Mike Evans.
That's
so
right.
when you see him go, he's got that deep release. They go, shit, let's go deep. We are not getting burned by this motherfucker. And then
right.
He starts to throttle down. They can bite him down. He sneaks over the top and done.
Yes,
it's going to work every time. You've got to use that in cohesion. But there's so much you can do when you have two guys who are considered viable deep threats. You can kind of play with what they do. You can play with what they do. You could have Scotty Miller being the guy who throttles down and takes the hitch, and then Tom Brady has two options straight off the bat. If they bite, you go. If they bite, if they take the cheese, which is the hitch guy, then you go up top. If they don't take the cheese and they play disciplined like they should on paper, you always go to the deepest man. You do not worry about the fucking underneath shit, because that shit you'll live to fight another day.
Yep.
You throw and then you take whatever's on offer. You take whatever's going on. And that's why I like it.
No, you're right. And after seeing Mike Evans go off, defensive coordinator is now going to say, okay, he ain't hurt and he ain't bullshitting, so we don't want this motherfucker to run past us. Can you imagine this? I think another thing that the Bucs need to start doing more on offense, do a wide receiver bunch. Man, I would literally have Scotty on the outside, Evans in the slot. No, Evans in the second, and then you put Godwin in the slot. Imagine this. You have Godwin run up in the middle. You have Mike Evans do a whole out, like a whole straight go route, and then you have Scotty Miller do an out route, but a deep out route.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody on that play is going to be open. Somebody will be open.
And if you want to make reads easier for Brady, attack the side of the field which has the most space. So if you're in between the hashes, it doesn't matter. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're on the left, you're on the left hatch. You're attacking the right. You're attacking the right sideline. So you
Yep.
end up with more real estate, which means there's more yardage to cover.
Yep.
So what I would have is everyone kind of all their routes kind of slowly kind of condense into that side of the field, which means first reads there, and my dump offs they're all in my eye set. So it's not like I've got to do this. I just look this way, and everyone's there. A bit like when you play Madden, you can see the whole fucking field. Yeah,
Yep.
no quarterback gets that fucking view. They'd all love to have that view. They have like a cone of vision where they only see like this much, and that's what they see.
I agree. And again, that's why I'm saying, imagine that though. The bunch would kill a defense because now you have to worry about, and then especially, can you
We
imagine?
play a lot of bunch, don't we? We like a bunch,
Yeah,
but we
but
like
they
a
don't,
tight
they
bunch.
don't, they don't do the routes the right way. They don't utilize it. It's just like a simple, all right, guys, you
We
just
use
run this.
we use the bunch in the run.
Yeah, and it's like use that shit more in the spread and passing. Again, Scotty on an out route, and or if you have Mike Evans on a go, somebody's gonna have to bite. And then Godwin is money in the slot. Linebacker can't keep up with them. The safety is gonna have to acknowledge Mike Evans balling out because they're gonna go, oh shit. And then I'm telling you, you could run that same play again and then switch it up. Okay, instead, this time Godwin, you go out. Instead, this time, Evans, you run in the middle. I'm telling you, you can make shit like that work. Have fun with it. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, Byron has just got to get out of his own way because we talked about it yesterday. It was sometimes where he became back to being vanilla, and it's like this is not the time to bullshit. You cannot do this. If we look at it, the way that they were passing those deep passes, that reminded me of good old Bruce Arians. That just brought back the good old days. I know Arians was somewhere smiling and sipping on some yak, like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Yeah, yes. I know he was like, hell yeah, yes, Byron, that's it. Do it. That's what I'm saying. We gotta have with that offense. If you take those type of shots, that's why we won that game. The Panthers were
Mm-hmm.
actually probably shell shocked, like, oh shit, they're actually throwing bombs. Where's this? We was expecting 2-yard throws. We were expecting. I thought they was gonna run up the gut. Okay, so now that we've done the offense, defensively, who are your three guys you want to show out?
I want to see more Antoine Winfield. He still hasn't made enough of his presence felt. I think our two linebackers are playing as admirably as they always do, and I think there's another level to Anthony Nelson. I really do. I think this will be a game. This game coming up, not the playoff game, will be a chance for him to solidify his spot. He doesn't have a lot of sacks. He has a few sacks. He's a really good rotational piece. And this is where he takes that next step and he bangs in two more here. So he ends up, I think he'll probably end up something like eight sacks on the season, which is pretty damn good for a rotational guy. I know he's probably started here and there, but for being a rotational guy with JTS and Carl Nassib, I really would like to see him have his moment, and I think he could be a real. It's a shame that his contract's pretty much done because I don't think the Bucs can afford to re-sign him. But you never know. Never know.
I like him too, and I think he'll be. We've talked about him. I think he'll be like a secret gem in the playoffs because they're gonna focus more. Anybody who we play are gonna focus on Vita and Hicks and Devin and Levante. That is your main guys that the offensive coordinators are saying. Let's watch out for him first. Well, what about this guy Nelson? Don't worry about him.
Let him be the under the radar guy.
Yeah, he's the don't worry about him guy. I do think that I want to see Carlton make a bigger impact too. And what I mean by bigger, pick these fucking balls off, man. Pick them off. When they're in your vicinity, stop letting them flobble, in between your hands. Grab that shit. He's literally, I tell you this. Now, that's another person who can get a big contract. Let's say this. Can you imagine if Carlton Davis gets 4 interceptions in the playoffs, but 2 of them are pick sixes? And let's say if the Bucs get to the Super Bowl and he gets an interception, the price tag on him will go extremely high.
Sure. I mean, like I said, both Sean Murphy Bunyan and Jamal Dean are up this year. So Jamal Dean's kind of solidified himself as the number 2 corner in this team. For SMB, it's basically like no one's going to sign him as a slot. He might get he could get re-signed as a slot, but he's not going to get re-signed here. We just don't have enough money to cover the spread on all these players. And there's a lot of mouths to feed, and there's a lot of people wanting to be re-upped. So it's going to be a case of I'll honestly tell you right now, I don't even think Mike Edwards is back. I just think that he just got too much.
That would
too many. Have you seen who? I mean, I don't want. Again, we're talking about next year, but there's so many people that they're playing for contracts, and that's another person. Mike Edwards, he's a ball hawk. I want that ball hawk back because he's not being the ball hawk that he always is. There's a couple that's bounced off his hands and what have you. I want him to have his solidifying spot where he's like, yeah, I'm the Mac Daddy.
Yes, I agree. He was that guy to always find the ball no matter what. We do need that. And I do think that a lot of that also had to deal with the fact that Shaq Barrett was able to put pressure on people and make them hesitate. So we really are missing his presence in that aspect. But this is where Anthony Nelson, and I just want JTS, Joe Trianca. I just really, not for him in the past. Of course, I want him to make a big impact, but I also want him to be a bigger impact in the run. Can you imagine if he can?
He's getting better. I've seen better things from him. It doesn't always seem so. The problem with him is his tackling.
Yes,
he can fit into the run. The whole point of fitting into the run, he can control a gap. The problem is when he gets to make the tackle, he tends to either overrun it or underrun it, and he loses his leverage and then falls on the floor.
It's like
that diving thing.
Sometimes stop flying at him. Stop flying at him. Just come and grab them and make a fundamental tackle. You know who I miss that they should show all the time who made fundamental tackles? Barrett Ruud. That guy was a for sure tackler. He didn't always have to blow you up. He was just, I'm going to get that tackle.
I've got you a Pro Bowl stat that needs to be put in the Pro Bowl, needs to be put in at the NFL that isn't, and it would set the linebackers apart, and then you know who's good and who's bad. Tackle accuracy. How many did you miss and how many did you hit on? You get that? Hey, you turn around to me and say, oh, this person's a Mac Daddy. He's got 1,100 tackles this week, but he missed 30. How many of those went for touchdowns? Like those kind of things. Because we do it to quarterbacks. We do it with receivers with drops and what have you. We don't do it for linebackers. Surely that's a big stat on how it tells you how good a linebacker is. How many times do you miss the tackle?
Agreed, because that would, and that would, in a way, though, that would kind of undermine Devin, because we love Devin, but he has missed a lot.
But who else would it make shine?
Levante
is a textbook tackler. It's very rare he loses leverage. He does occasionally. Everyone does, but it's very rare that he does. And his tackling is so textbook. He ain't there to hurt you. He ain't there to wallop you. He's there to get you to the ground and get to the next play. That's how he plays. He's not the super aggressive. If you look at the types of tackle, and this is the reason Devin tries to blow people apart.
Yes,
that's why when he hits somebody, it looks fun and spectacular.
Yes.
Levante David's tackling is not spectacular, but it's so accurate and it's so clean. He's considered one of the cleanest players in the game. He's won awards for fair play because he doesn't do shitty tackles. He is textbook. I think he's more like a rugby player in his tackling technique. Is he just wraps up, tightens up, spins around, crocodile rolls down, takes them down, gets up, and that's it. He also has really brilliant ability of how he gets his peanut punch in, because he's still very accurate with his tackle of how he gets it out. Devin White would just blow the shit out of you. But unfortunately, blowing the shit out of someone usually means your accuracy's off.
Right. And it is it's one of those things where it can be a mental thing too, because Devin wants to mentally intimidate you. And that can happen, because if you get a guy like, again, we go back to it. Let Jalen Hurts get sacked by fucking Devin White. He's going to think twice. He's going to go. I don't want
you get sacked by Levante David. You're saying thank you. You get sacked by you're going to remember it.
Yes, Devin will make you go, okay. Coach.
I'm watching him now.
Chip him now. You chip him. So yes,
you chip him, but I've got my eyes on him. And then I've got my eyes on him. I'm not looking downfield. I'm not looking at this, and I'm not looking at that. I'm not looking, and that's when, once you've got into the head of that quarterback, give him a good thumping wallop. And a linebacker is a perfect example, because you can move them around. You can switch him and Levante David. You can bring him down. You can move it. You can play with them. That's
Mhm.
the beautiful part. So he gets a wallop in early, even if it's just a quarterback hit, just enough to make him go, oh, fuck. That end,
Right,
right?
right.
And the next play, he's got his eye on him. 45, 45's here, 45, 45's the mic, 45's the mic, 45's the
45
mic.
Mike.
And then
Yep.
he's getting back. What's 45 fucking doing? Oh, shit, I've missed my gut. Sacked again, but by somebody else.
Or if 45 gets out there running after him, now Hurts has to throw the ball away. Or if he tries to make a play, it's been tipped. AJ Brown tips it. Here comes Mike Edwards with the interception. Oh shit! Again, yes. 40. Devin just again, he is a game changer. However, he has to be careful because people depend. They look at him. Okay, he's gonna fly head in first, and that's when you can get a good juke on him, and that's all she wrote. Now that person then ran another 15 yards up the field, and let's just talk about this. Bowles has got to just play more man coverage. If you go back to that damn Panthers game, we killed most of us. What killed this half most of the time was either a zone coverage or stupid cushion. We have to he has to realize that 6-8 yards, as we always talk about, it doesn't work.
I
It's
just want
not.
to put this on. Sorry, this is a big shot to me, and I did not realize it. That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, I did not know this.
You remember the last time Evans and
He's been so quiet this year,
Godwin?
but he's got better over the. I didn't think it was that close. I thought he'd be like 800 or something like
Yeah.
700 to 800. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Remember that was
Yeah, the double Pro Bowl season
yeah,
for them.
Winston got both of them 1,000 yards. So
Mhm.
again, that just shows you how good and valuable Godwin is, and Godwin will get that. I think Godwin will definitely get the 1,000 yards playing against the Falcons. All he's gonna do is run up the middle every damn time and get it and catch it. So he'll get that. But yeah, again, we just back to Bowles. Just play more man, please. Play more
Can't
man.
play man the whole game, so that's what I get it. And I've
Yeah.
also I look at other teams. Everyone plays that has that cushion package. It's when it's. I think it's about knowing when to use it, when not to use it. We
Yes.
tend to use it.
We use it too early.
We use it. It's not just the earliness. It's more the case of where and when. I wouldn't use that cushion package when I'm in my own half. When I'm in my own half, I'll use it in their half because I'm going to feel worried about. Soon as they hit the 50, that's when that cushion package has to start dissolving. They need to have like a cushion package and then the like an intermediate cushion package. So like they go to 8 instead of 10, or
Mhm.
and personally, I don't agree with any of it. Personally, at all. I don't believe in it. The only time you should adjust is third and long and third and short, or
Yeah.
goal line. Those are the
Yes.
only times you need to adjust your depth, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Um,
Right.
but I coach Mickey Mouse level football, so let's be honest.
Hey, football's football. It's just
No,
different.
I get you, but like this is way more advanced stuff. It's just my philosophy is that, and you probably could make. There's probably teams that do it. That you're
Mhm.
always at 6 unless something on the field stops you from being at 6.
Amen. I got a philosophy of doing the man early because then I want to see. I like to see what happens when we punch a offense in the mouth because let's say the first time we use it, we get a 3 and out. Now you go back. I bet you that offensive coordinator is going to now he's going to really be like, okay, these guys like to play up and bump. So now we're just going to have certain guys go out. And then that's when you switch it up. And then you might go to a cushion because then again, you want to see what they're going to do because sometimes you might mess around and change their whole philosophy because they get scared. Oh, okay. Well, we were going to take shots. But now we're just going to throw under things to keep it going, and then that's when it can work. The reason why I say the Bucs use it too early is because it gets in a rhythm when then all of a sudden they get gas, and then that's why they get scored on. Typically, play
Yeah, I mean, for
physical
me, when
first.
I see anyone play against this Bucks team, I love it when they throw underneath because I do generally think we've got good tacklers. We have had a couple of weeks where we've been poor at times, and those were the weeks where you could see it when we got blown out or we had
Yeah.
really bad losses. But usually, if they throw it underneath, someone's usually getting to him, and if he doesn't, he's slowed him down enough for the next man to get him anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Before we were seeing a lot of guys catching from the line of scrimmage and pretty much running it for 12 yards, and I was like, I do not like that. That
Yeah.
just And I'm seeing guys laying on the floor, and I'm like, how the fuck are we missing these simple tackles?
And that's when those screens can come in, because now that's what happens. They'll get good screens, and then the line will come up. And again, like you said, we're already 8 to 10 yards off. So now we got to try to get through 300 big pound motherfuckers knocking you over. It's it's not going to add up real right. So that's why I just try to do it early, just to see what they're going to do. Make them, because you never know. They might get a little truculent and take that deep shot that they think it's open, and that's where our safeties will pick them off, or a corner, something like that. Just make I just want to make the defense team's offense go, let's change this up, when they might not have to. Sometimes people adjust too soon, where they don't go with the program, and then it's like you got in their head. So that's why I just believe in that first, because the bending thing, we bend too much. How about we break instead of bend? How about we strike first? How about we get that turnover?
I get what you're saying. The problem is with or I would say a break or bust kind of like no risk, no biscuit version of the defense is the problem. You it can win big, but then if they start putting touchdowns on, then you're relying on an offense that can't score. That's, I think, where you kind of go, okay, bend but don't break works really well for an offense that can't score regularly. If this was you're absolutely right. If this Buccaneers team was the offense that it had last year, no risk, no biscuit should have been the same fucking shit on offense and defense, because you could afford to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the good thing about learning a bend but don't break is when you are, once they are, because I do think in seasons past we have played more no risk it, no biscuit on defense, to be honest. Definitely more risque. Once they know how to do both, you can use that, and you can go, right, let's go. We need an interception to win the game. No risk it, no biscuit, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. This is where, again, the offense is going to have to turn it up. And if with Jensen's presence, if he can come back in, like I said, that will help. If I'll say this, if Jensen can come in the playoffs, and you can see the Bucs offense immediately turns around. Let's say if Jensen comes in and we score the first 2 drives, defense, go balls to the wall. No need to bend, break. You play hard. Now that granted, that's gonna
I think I know what you mean now. I agree with you, because I think Coach Bowles will still play bend but don't break, because it's a different mentality. I think when you're a head coach, and this is why sometimes the head coach has to should take himself away from play calling sometimes, because he's playing to keep his job.
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing to kick everyone's ass. He's playing to keep his job and prove that he belongs in this league. And that can cause you to be unnecessarily vanilla. That can cause you to second guess yourself. Yeah, it's a fair assessment.
Absolutely.
Whereas you have a defensive coordinator, you can kick his ass if he fucks up.
Yep.
And you can fire him. Same with your offensive coordinator. If your offensive coordinator's not doing his job, you turn around and say, dude, you need to get this shit sorted, because I'm paying you're part of my staff. You're showing me up. Heads will fucking roll, because I'm keeping my job. I like you. You a good guy. We'll go to McDonald's together. We'll go out for dinner together. We'll go to steak. Your friends will go out for cocktails together. It does not matter. At the end of the day, it's a business decision. If you can't give me my output, then I have to look elsewhere. And I like you as a guy, but I'm not going to lose my job for you.
Exactly.
I always say that to people at work. When my job is to audit people, so I go in and I'll go in and they're like, I make a mistake or something. It's like, you've done this here. Can you clean that up? And you do that there and what have you? And they're like, it's I don't have time. And it's just like, look, let me put it this way. I like you. You're a really, really nice person. But if I don't report this and someone checks my work and they've seen that I've overlooked your fuck up, it's me who gets it in the neck, not you. You get away with it scot-free. So tell me what's in it for me to let you get away with this. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to lose my job, but I could get disciplined. I could go through disciplinary. I ain't doing it for you. What are you going to give me? And they'll go, okay, boss, I'll do it for you. I was like,
right.
There you
go. And that is a good way to look at it. They have to this is where compromise and conversations have to come in together. Bowles has really got to fit. You say, hey, He's not I don't, sometimes he does boneheaded things, but it's just deep down, it's like, Bowles, you're a smart man. Go to Byron and say, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you insisting on this dumbass predictable HB draw that nobody is falling for? We can't afford that in the playoffs. We can't afford to lose it down, because if you think about it, anytime the Bucs do those plays, they completely waste it down, especially in the red zone. That is unacceptable. At this point, Bowles need to go, Byron, just throw that shit out, man. I don't want to see an HB draw play unless the secondary is 7 to 8 yards off of us. I don't want to see it. If you see something, use the play action. The only thing that I'll say Dan Orlowski's dumbass said earlier is the play action does need to be used. The Bucs master it because Brady is a master.
Versus the Bengals, for crying out loud. It was fucking phenomenal. They used it in chunks in this game. And they also, I remember this, they also utilized the hurry up, not at the end of the game, actually just in game, and it worked again. Look, we all know that they can't continuously run no huddle. It's just not sustainable, especially in Tampa Heat. Maybe if you're in a cooler area, maybe you could do it a little bit more. I completely get it, but it's a momentum. It's like twisting the knife. You got him. Now I'm going to twist it with this, and you're like, fuck. Now how do we survive? Because we've got our fucking nickel. We got our dime set in, and they're fucking running. They're running their running back right at our fucking DBs, and they can't get hold of him. And it's bang, crash, bang, crash, bang, crash, bang. And I want to give a big shout out to my guy, Mr. Leonard Fournette, playoff Lenny, who got yards, and went, I need to go off. Let my boy go in. And he did. And I was like, that's fucking selfless, because he was so close to a touchdown. He just went, I'm off. I'm done. But you could see he was gassed. He just turned to the sideline and went, I want to come off. And I was like, wow. That's
I think Lenny,
that's maturity.
This season probably
even I want to stay in.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned him. This season has probably humbled him more. Just think about it. You already said in the beginning, the hype was there. But I bet Lenny and all those players they came to a conclusion, to the realization, if we keep fucking up, we can actually miss the playoffs. If we keep fucking up, we will get embarrassed.
Your ego in check.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you said that, because another thing that he done in this game was a hell of a chip blocker. I don't think people realize, go back to that play when the Bucs got that 4th down conversion. He blew a guy who ended the fuck up. He blew him up so bad. My man did a Dominique Dawes flip in the air. And here was what's so gangster about it. My man Lenny got up, and he could, if Brady paid attention, he would have got the first down, because he was in the middle of the field. I tell people, if bring on the Cowboys, Micah Parsons, Lenny will remind you when he chips, because the way he chips like a back is supposed to. You blow people up. One thing I love about him, he doesn't do this little patty cake shit.
Well, the thing is, when you are running with that much speed, you can't get hands on someone. It's just too slippery.
Exactly.
They're running at full speed, you're running at full speed, and even if you're not, you're running at half speed, which is still pretty fucking fast for them. You're not going to be able to just get that bang. Why do you think linemen can do it? Because they're only about this far apart from it. They're literally a yard apart from each other. Their hands are almost like half a yard away from each other, and then they collide with each other. You will not get full on perfect base blocks. So the best thing is you're popping your shoulder in and you're leaning up.
Yes, or if you're for the shorter guys, because Lenny can't do it because of his height. What I used to love doing the big dudes is, because they can't get down low enough, because they're going to have to try to run at full speed. But if they get too low, they can't see where they're going. So I throw, like you said, my body. But sometimes I didn't even have to go upwards, me being at 5'7". I would just literally just throw myself into them. And
I think I go with the science side of it. So when you go up, if you're like this and you're naturally down, you're just going to do that. Yeah. If you do this, you're getting this kind of motion. You're uncoiling. So a lot of your energy. A lot of people don't realize blocking. If you're a good blocker, it comes from your hips and your legs. It does not come from your body, your abdomen or your arms or what have you. It's all about uncoiling. It's almost like you've reeled back and you're uncoiling out. Same with tackling. It's the same vibe. And it's that, like, if you can get that kind of dipping it up, then
Mhm.
you're almost like uppercutting through them, which
That's
always
true,
throws them off.
and that is very true. Sometimes you just
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
be
yeah,
careful,
absolutely. But you use what your advantage is.
and it's all about timing. What you just said, it's perfect, but you better know the timing, because if you do it the wrong time and that guy sees it, that's where dudes can get knocked over.
Yeah, because if you
Because
go down low early, then they can read it.
yep, you have to. It's all about timing. You
Well,
have to know.
why do you think people get hurdled? It's not because the guy's a fucking great hurdler. It's because someone went really low, really quick,
Yep.
and they did it early enough for them to go, ah, this motherfucker's going low. So they can see this guy literally crawling on the, no, I wouldn't say crawling on the ground, but diving across. You should, I would say most athletic people would be able to hurdle somebody if they did that.
Mm-hmm.
It looks spectacular in a game, but really they've not. They jump high, of course they have, but
Exactly.
because they've seen somebody going low on them, because it's like a Leonard Fournette or it's Derrick Henry, yeah, who has a bit more height, who probably has an explosive jump. That's it. You see someone die, you're gonna jump, and you get what you get. Sometimes you'll land back on your feet. Sometimes you'll just trip over them and fall over. But you're still gonna get something because you've dived
Mm-hmm.
over them.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but that's why I just loved how Lenny was just doing his thing, and that will help in the playoffs. Because with that being said, all Brady needs is time. If you give Brady a solid 4 seconds, it's over. 4 seconds for him, he only needs 3. But can you imagine Brady in the playoffs and the line gets their shit together, and he has 4 seconds to get it right? That's just a
To
lifetime.
be honest, it's a better line than we had in the playoffs last year if Jensen gets back in time.
No, you are right, because I'm glad you brought that up, because people forget we didn't have a Tristan Wirfs when we went up against the Rams. We have a Tristan Wirfs against the Rams. We might be talking about an entirely different era of football. For all we know, we be talking about the Bucs three-peating out this bitch. But yes, you are right. Tristan
And
Wirfs.
you know what you said about Tom Brady about having to sit and be a bit tougher in the pocket.
Yes,
That's what he needed to do in the Rams game. It just came a little bit too late.
it did. Yes.
I turned to my wife. I say this all the time. I remember watching the game again. He just needs to stick out in the pocket, trust Mike Evans, because I think Chris Godwin was beat up a bit. Was beat up in that game as well. So it was Mike Evans or bust was pretty much the offense. So he just needs to sit and trust Mike Evans. Sit, give him a minute and throw it, because he was trying to get in the ball in the first half, but it was really short stuff. And it was Mike Evans isn't a short stuff type of guy.
No.
Or elongated. Everything's long with Mike Evans. And then they started to do it. It was clicking and it was working. And then the defense started to fucking figure their shit out. And then it is what it is.
Right. But like you said, by the time he stuck it out, it was too late. And that's
It wasn't. It was. We all know it came down to another play down the
right.
line. But had they done that earlier, we could be talking about a different ball game, because you may not be chasing the game.
Right. That's why I say I think we wouldn't have, because then again the defense would have got their shit together, and then we could have put more pressure on Matt to make mistakes. And we know he can make mistakes under duress. We just, again, like you said, if Brady can just, and he will, because he knows I have nothing else to lose for. I need to play this.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a game if we win. Brady might have to take four sacks. He won't care, because he'll go, hey, that means something. I see something open, so this is going to happen the next time.
Good advertisement for Alex Guerrero, his personal trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole playoffs, baby, when they were fucking sacking my ass.
Yeah, I don't.
This is a legacy season for him, and
exactly.
Anyone can turn around to me and say he's going to come back next season. It's not set in stone. If I was Tom Brady, I'd leave. He's got all the money in the world. If he keeps chasing it, he will fall off the wagon eventually. Whether it be next year or the year after, he will fall off the wagon. Father Time will catch up with him. And he's been very fortuitous.
Mm-hmm.
Fortuitous. I'll go with fortuitous.
Yes,
he's been very fortuitous to do as long as he has. He's broken many accolades. To finish on a Super Bowl is the ultimate win. It's like Peyton Manning did it. He barely won a fucking Super Bowl because they carried him all the way fucking through it.
Yes, they did. They sure did. There's only a few quarterbacks that walked off in the sunset like that. John Elway.
Yep.
And you're right. John Elway knew when to hang that shit up. He knew.
You got me.
Yeah, he knew. He said, you know what? This second Super Bowl, he did his thing, but he knows Shannon Sharp, Terrell Davis saved my ass. Those guys were the true MVPs. Yes,
And the
you're
defense.
right. And I'm speaking in existence. If now I'll say this, Brady wins a Super Bowl with this team, he's not going anywhere. Only because, and it's not that he wouldn't want to, it's one of those things, like you said, he's chasing Lombardi rings now. Why leave when you already
You want
know?
to leave that Michael Jordan legacy.
Yes, and why leave if you know already you can have anything you want after this season? You get the Bucs a Super Bowl win this year, they'll say, okay, who the fuck you want gone? And you, if Brady be like, you know what, I want to take one more shot at this, and then I'm done. But this is what I need, and this is who I want here. You really think the Glazers are going to say no? They're going to go, okay, who has to go?
Look, at the end of the day, my opinion is that right now, Tom Brady's still the best quarterback on this team to help win us anything, whether it's a divisional championship, whether it's a Super Bowl, whether it's just winning the NFC South. He's the best quarterback on this team.
Yep.
Could the Buccaneers hire somebody of his stature? No, they can't, because franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees, and they don't usually team hop so much. We were extremely lucky to get someone like Tom Brady.
Yes, we're very blessed.
Extremely lucky. Quarterbacks don't usually change teams. They're usually lifers. They usually leave when their talent has dried up and they need to find money, and they don't want to give it up. Like a Brett Favre. That's usually what tends to happen. A lot of people saw what happened with Tom Brady versus Tennessee in his last season and thought he was washed up because of one game.
And not realizing, not looking at the big picture, because
because who did he have to throw to? Nobody. There was no Edelman, and Edelman's a great wide receiver in the playoffs. He's a fucking pumpkin when it's during the regular season. He makes fucking really good circus catches, and he's a tough dude. 100% respect him, but he is a playoff dude.
Right.
He's not gonna. How many 1,000-yard seasons? 1,000-yard seasons has he had? It's less than 5. It's less than 5. How many over 10 touchdown seasons has he had? Probably less than 5. He is a B+ wide receiver at best. And that's not being mean to him.
No, you're being real.
You know what he is? He's an A-star wide receiver in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say, realistically, fundamentally, and just overall, I give him a B. I give him a B.
I was being kind.
Yeah, I ain't being kind. I'm going to give him what he really is. He's really a B, and for the most part, he could be a B-. But yeah, you're right. Because somebody had to remind me of that. Because I was like, shit, I think we're getting to watch the Brady. But a buddy of mine said, no, go back and look at who he had to play with. And then when I looked at it, and I was like, oh shit, he really didn't have anyone to play with. And he said, now imagine him with your receiving core. And I said, oh shit, we might be on to something. And then when we drafted Wirfs, that's when I was sold. I said, oh, the Bucs are about to do some big noise, because I love Wirfs. That's another person that we're gonna have to worry about paying when his rookie contract season.
We don't have to worry too much, because he's a first-round pick, so he's going to have another year extended. So he's going to have 5 years. He's going to have 5 years with us before we have to worry about anything. And I would not be surprised if we tag him as well. But that's down the line.
That's down the road. But yes.
Yeah,
I'm just, before I, wrap this up, man. Tell me this, man. Like, give me your percentages of the Bucs in the wild card, and then let's say the division title, and then the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Like winning percentage.
Well, I'm fucking delusional, because I have, in my picks this whole fucking season, I went, put me down for the Bucs every single game. I don't give a fuck who we're playing. Bucs win. I don't give a shit. Buccaneers are going to win the Super Bowl. Buccaneers are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm deluded. I don't give a shit. I don't care if people, but this and but I don't care. I'm a fan of this team. I'm fanatical about this team. I do fucking shows about this team. I'm never betting against my fucking Buccaneers.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go. We've got an 85% chance of winning our first playoff game. We have, again, I don't know who we're playing each time, so I'm just guessing here. The next game, I'm giving us a 68% chance of winning that game. The NFC Championships, I'm going to be brutally honest and go it's a 50-50. The Super Bowl, I actually believe once we get there, it can shoot up to 70.
Whew. Woo.
Because it's the moment.
Woo,
It's the moment.
Woo, that's a hot that's a hot take. I like that.
I'm, like I said, I'm fucking deluded, so I don't give a shit. I do not care. I don't care if anyone thinks I'm mad or nuts. I am. I'm mad about this team. I'm believing to think we're going to win every fucking game. Like, I didn't think we go undefeated because I'm a realist. But when you get to a point in the playoffs, it's a whole different fucking ball game. And we know the intensity that Tom Brady brings when it comes to playoff time. We know this is all what it's about. They've been here before. They know what it takes. They know what it takes on the road. They've done that. They know what it takes at home. They've done that. They know how to take care of business. Yes, they're in a bum season. Yes, it's not worked out well. But this is when all the shackles come off. Whatever you had left is laid to bear. If the Buccaneers go out first game, it means they just generally were shit. Let's be honest. Yeah. There's no like we can go, oh, this could have been better. We were just bad.
Yeah, we were just bad.
You can't, because this is when you go, right, balls to the walls, we give up nothing. Because you can't look at next week's game, because next week's game doesn't exist until you beat this one. You could argue Michigan was too busy eyeing up the fucking prize, and they went, oh shit, TCU can play.
I agreed. I like where you're going. I like your enthusiasm. I was just gonna break down and I was gonna say first round 80% because
okay, I
said 80%. Now the second round I said 60.
I went 60 as well.
And then I'm not gonna lie, NFC 50-50. I said the same thing, 50-50, because by then the reason why I say that, and it just depends, like you said, I'm gonna say it like this. If the 49ers lose their first round, here's where I'm gonna go. If the 49ers are out, it's literally it's 80. I'm sorry. If the 49ers lose 80, because there's nobody in there that I fear. Can you imagine? Let's say this would be the funniest thing. Can you imagine if the Vikings or someone like that gets to the NFC title? Who in their right mind is gonna really take and if we get there, Kirk Cousins will get washed. That will be the only time I will see the Vikings or the Cowboys. I know this is a hot take. That's the two teams that I can see the Bucs washing.
Yeah.
And you know why is that? They have two quarterbacks that are too inconsistent, and when the chips are down or if they get down quick, they panic. They will lose it. And yes, the Bucs in the Super Bowl, the biggest threats. I'm not really worried about anybody in the AFC besides maybe the Chiefs and the Bills. But to be honest, I wouldn't be scared because we can beat the Chiefs. Won't be nowhere as threatening as before because they don't have a deep threat guy. The Bills, the only reason I would fear the Bills is because Josh Allen is another improviser. And with his size, he can make it happen. But yeah, man, we are both on that wagon. You can
I don't care. We got to win.
We're gonna win. And I
won't vote against this team.
I feel you. And with that, we'll sound off with that. And again, thank you for the Bucs fans out here who was watching. Again, AJ Turner, you can find me at YouTube, AJ. It's about Buck and Time. You can find me on Instagram, FlexLuthor_813, Twitter, aturner24_24. Slick, always a pleasure speaking the Bucs ball with you. We are in the playoffs, and my man, I will I bid you do well, and go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Ezra, say go Bucs.
Yes, sir.
Go Bucs.
Start them young. Love it.
Start them young. There you go. That's it, guys. That's the end of the show. Much appreciated. Ezra says goodbye to everybody. Say goodbye, Ezra.
Bye-bye.
Little Git has stayed up till 3 a.m. because he was waiting for me to come back from work. So, Bucs on me, Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!